Have you ever felt a profound and sometimes painful ache deep within your soul? A relentless yearning for something more? A craving for progress when every fiber of your being feels trapped in stagnation? A desperate desire for a breakthrough when all you see around you is the debris of breakdown? Do you demand clarity from a universe that seems determined to keep you wandering in a thick, impenetrable fog? If this message has found you, right here, in this very moment, understand that it is not by accident. It is a divine appointment, a sign from the universe itself. Let me know in the comments by typing "I am ready," so that our energies can connect across the digital ether. And if this speaks to the core of you, please honor that resonance by liking and subscribing, so we may continue to walk this sacred path of awakening together. There exists a pervasive illusion, a story whispered into our hearts from the moment we are born, a low-frequency belief that has kept humanity in chains for millennia. We have been sold a lie. The lie that growth is a straight line, a predictable ascent from one milestone to the next. We've been taught to believe that understanding arrives in neatly wrapped packages, tied with the ribbon of logic, that spiritual transformation must adhere to our human timelines and our meticulously crafted 5-year plans. We look at the lives of others, these carefully curated highlight reels, and we believe that their journey was a seamless climb, devoid of the messy, chaotic valleys we find ourselves in. We internalize this falsehood, and it becomes the brutal yardstick by which we measure our own sacred journey. This belief system is the true source of our suffering, the quiet tormentor that drives so many beautiful souls to the brink of exhaustion, constantly comparing their divinely unique path to a manufactured, artificial standard. That restless, anxious energy churning within you, the one that lives in the chasm between where you are and where your soul knows you are, destined to be a direct result of this great illusion. It's the friction between your authentic, unfolding destiny and the rigid, linear expectations you've been conditioned to hold. But I am here to tell you a profound and liberating truth. The moments that feel the most like failure, the periods that seem like the absolute lowest points of your existence, are not what they appear to be. The truth is, the moments immediately preceding the most magnificent shifts in your life will almost always feel like the worst moments of your life. They will feel utterly chaotic. They will feel profoundly confusing. They will feel, without a doubt, like you were moving backward, regressing, losing all the ground you thought you had gained. And you must understand this with every cell in your body. This is not a glitch in the system. This is not a cosmic error or a sign that you have failed. This is the divine feature. This is the sacred architecture of awakening. It is the holy process of dismantling before the grand reconstruction. It is the universe lovingly clearing the ground of your life, pulling up the old dead roots to make way for a garden more vibrant and beautiful than you could ever have imagined. The chaos is not the problem. It is the process. The breakdown is the sacred precursor to the breakthrough. We have all stood there, haven't we? Standing in the epicenter of what feels like complete and utter disorder. We find ourselves questioning every single choice, every turn we've ever made, replaying our past on a loop of regret and self-doubt. A chilling question echoes in the chambers of our heart. Am I broken? Am I fundamentally flawed? We feel hopelessly behind, as if we missed a crucial lesson, a secret instruction manual that everyone else seems to have received and mastered years ago. You look at the world around you and it seems as though everyone else has their life perfectly together. Their paths are clear, their purpose is defined, their relationships are stable, their abundance flows. Meanwhile, you are still trying to decipher the cryptic language of your own soul's blueprint, fumbling in the dark with pieces that don't seem to fit. This feeling of isolation, this sting of spiritual solitude, is one of the most powerful signs that your transformation is not only happening but is also intensifying, reaching its critical point. The greater the feeling of being an outsider, the more profound the evidence that you are being prepared for a destiny that is anything but ordinary. You are not meant to fit into the old world, because you are here to help build the new one. But here is the secret that nobody tells you about these moments of profound disorientation. These dark nights of the soul when absolutely nothing makes any sense. These periods are not random. They are not a punishment from the universe for some perceived wrongdoing. They are, in fact, a holy preparation, They are an initiation. Think about it. Take a deep, conscious breath and travel back through the corridors of your own life's memories. Have you ever noticed how the most significant, life-altering shifts you've ever experienced came directly on the heels of periods that felt utterly impossible to navigate? That soul-crushing job you absolutely hated, the one that drained your life force day after day, wasn't that the very pressure that finally propelled you to discover the career that now sets your soul on fire? That heartbreaking relationship that fell apart, shattering your heart into a million pieces and leaving you feeling irrevocably broken, didn't? That painful ending ultimately cleared the sacred ground for a love that was truly real, a connection that reflected your true worth and mirrored the love you were learning to give yourself. And that terrifying financial crisis, the one that brought you to your knees and made you question your ability to survive, did it not force you to unearth a reservoir of strength, resilience, and resourcefulness you never, ever knew you possessed? It's as if the universe has a divine pattern, a sacred rhythm of breaking things down before it rebuilds them. But the key is this: it never rebuilds them the same way. It always, without fail, rebuilds them stronger, more resilient, more beautiful, and more perfectly aligned with the next highest version of your soul's expression. The problem, the great human tragedy, is that we have been rigorously trained by a fearful society to see this sacred process in reverse. We have been conditioned to interpret confusion as an undeniable sign of failure. We have been taught that uncertainty is a weakness, a character flaw to be hidden away in shame. We view not knowing as a problem that must be fixed immediately, a state of being so uncomfortable that we will do almost anything to escape it. We panic. We grasp for control. We try to force an answer where one is not yet ready to bloom. We mistake the sacred demolition for the final verdict, instead of recognizing it as the necessary and holy groundwork for the divine temple that is being built within us and for us. We live in a world that worships instant answers and quick solutions. Our culture is obsessed with instant gratification. It sells us 5-step programs to transform our entire existence by next Tuesday. It offers us surface-level fixes and spiritual bypasses, promising that we can avoid the discomfort of the journey. But you, soul traveler, you know better. Deep down, you know that true, lasting transformation, the kind of profound change that actually sticks, the kind that rewrites your DNA and alters your destiny, doesn't work that way. Real change, the alchemy of the soul, is never a quick fix. It is a deep, organic, and often mysterious process. It happens in the liminal spaces, in the sacred pauses between knowing and not knowing. It happens in the mess. It is born from the chaos. And let's be honest with one another, soul to soul. The mess is profoundly uncomfortable. The void is terrifying. It makes you want to grab onto anything that feels solid and familiar, even if you know in your heart that it's the wrong thing for you, even if it represents the very chains you are trying to break free from. This is the critical juncture. In the face of this discomfort, you start making desperate moves. You chase distractions, new relationships, new jobs, new locations, anything to fill the void and numb the feeling of not knowing. Or worse, you retreat. You begin to convince yourself that the chaos is a sign that you are doing something terribly wrong, that you are off your path, that you have been abandoned by the divine. You start to believe the illusion that you are being punished. You internalize the fear, and in doing so, you can inadvertently prolong the very process that is meant to liberate you. You fight against the current of your own becoming, exhausting yourself in a battle against the very flow of universal intelligence that is guiding you home. What if I told you that the chaos isn't the problem at all? What if the chaos is the solution? What if that messy, confusing, and uncertain space is precisely where your soul needs you to be, right now? What if the breakdown is the breakthrough in disguise? There is a well-documented phenomenon that occurs in nature and in consciousness right before major breakthroughs. Everything gets darker just before it gets brighter. Everything becomes more confusing just before it becomes crystal clear. Everything feels like it is completely falling apart just before it comes together in ways you never could have planned or orchestrated with your conscious mind. It's like being handed a complex jigsaw puzzle, but instead of the box with the final picture on it, Someone just dumps all the 1,000 pieces onto the table in a chaotic heap. You stare at the jumble of colors and shapes, and you can't possibly see how they could ever form a coherent image. Your logical mind screams that it's impossible, that pieces are missing, that the task is too great. But there is a deeper part of you, an intuitive knowing, a whisper from your higher self that trusts the picture is there. It knows, without needing proof, that every single piece has its perfect place. Most people give up during this phase. They look at the mess of puzzle pieces and they walk away. They interpret the darkness as proof that they took a wrong turn, that the light will never return. They see the confusion as evidence that they are simply not capable of creating the life they dream of. They mistake the falling apart for actual permanent failure instead of recognizing it for what it truly is, the necessary dismantling that always comes before reconstruction. But the souls who push through, the ones who have the courage to stay present in the intimidating silence of uncertainty, the ones who learn to sit with the discomfort of the jumbled pieces without needing to force them together, they are the ones who get to experience the magic. They are the ones who get to witness what happens when everything, suddenly and miraculously, finally clicks. And when it clicks, it doesn't just click a little bit. It clicks in a way that sends a shockwave of understanding through your entire being. It clicks in a way that makes you realize, with breathtaking clarity, why nothing made sense before. You begin to see the divine golden thread weaving through every confusing moment, every painful detour. You understand that every single challenge was actually a piece of the puzzle, moving you towards something you couldn't have even conceived of when you were in the middle of it. The job rejection that broke your heart? It was the universe lovingly pushing you towards starting your own business, a venture that would allow your true gifts to flourish in a way no corporate structure ever could. The friendship that ended abruptly and painfully? It was a necessary clearing, making energetic space for you to meet the soul family who could truly see, understand, and celebrate the authentic you. The meticulously laid plans that crumbled into dust? They were being divinely dissolved to make way for far better plans that the universe had in store for you, plans that were more aligned with your soul's highest good. But here's the beautiful, paradoxical thing about these breakthrough moments. You cannot force them. You cannot hustle your way into them. You cannot think your way into them with your logical mind. And you certainly cannot manifest them by simply repeating affirmations while ignoring the deep inner work that the chaos is calling you to do. They don't operate on your timeline or according to your ego's agenda. They come when they come, and they usually arrive when you have finally, truly surrendered. They emerge from the fertile void you create when you stop gripping so tightly to how you think things should unfold. They show up when you have learned the sacred art of trusting the process, even when, and especially when, the process looks nothing at all like progress. This is not about being passive. This is not about giving up and just waiting around, hoping that things will magically improve. It is about a state of active trust. It is about understanding that there is a profound, benevolent intelligence to the way your life unfolds, an intelligence that is infinitely larger and wiser than your limited human ability to control it. It is about recognizing that sometimes, not knowing what's next is the most powerful and spiritually potent place you can be. Because it is only in that sacred space of not knowing that you become truly open and available to the infinite possibilities that your overthinking, controlling mind would have otherwise dismissed as illogical or impossible. In the void, you are no longer limited by your past experiences or your future fears. You are pure potential, a blank canvas upon which the universe can paint a masterpiece. So you see, the moments when nothing makes sense are not evidence that you are lost. They are evidence that you are about to be found. They are the sacred labor pains that precede the birth of something new and beautiful within you and your life. The metaphor of the darkness before the dawn isn't just a pretty phrase. It is the fundamental mechanics of how true transformation actually works. Everything old must break down. The old identity, the old beliefs, the old patterns, they all have to crumble to make way for what is being rebuilt. And what is rebuilt is always stronger, more aligned, and more authentically true to the magnificent being you are becoming. So, if you are in one of those phases right now, if you are wading through the thick fog of confusion and nothing makes sense, If you feel like you are stumbling through your life completely blindfolded, I want you to take a deep, centering breath. Feel the air fill your lungs. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not missing some secret that everyone else knows. You are exactly where you need to be for the next chapter of your divine story to emerge. The very fact that you cannot see the path yet does not, for 1 second, mean that it is not being laid out before you, stone by sacred stone. Because the most beautiful and miraculous thing about this human journey is this. Just when you think you absolutely cannot handle one more moment of uncertainty, just when you are utterly convinced that you will never figure it out, something shifts. A door opens that you didn't even know existed. A connection forms that changes everything. An opportunity appears that feels like it was custom designed by the universe specifically for you. And suddenly, in a quiet, unassuming moment, all those periods that felt like unbearable chaos start to reveal themselves for what they truly were. The perfect, divine preparation for the beautiful new reality you are stepping into now. The most profound truth about these breakthrough moments is that they don't arrive with a dramatic fanfare. They don't announce themselves with flashing lights or a booming voice from the heavens. They slip in quietly, often disguised as an ordinary Tuesday afternoon or a random conversation with a stranger. One moment, you are drowning in a sea of confusion, and the next, without even realizing how it happened, you are breathing again. You are standing on solid ground. The sun is on your face. And here is what's truly wild. When you look back at those periods that felt so impossibly long and painful while you were living them, they will no longer seem that way in your memory. Time has a strange way of compressing in our memories. What felt like an eternity of wandering in the desert was, in hindsight, actually just a few intense months. What seemed like endless, agonizing confusion was really just a necessary season of recalibration. But when you're in it, when you are living inside the uncertainty, every day stretches on like a taut elastic band, ready to snap. Every hour feels heavy with the weight of questions you simply cannot answer. That's because the state of confusion distorts our perception of time. When you don't know what's coming next, when you can't see the path ahead, your mind starts playing tricks on you. It convinces you that this state is permanent, that you will never figure it out, that everyone else got a map and you were left behind to wander aimlessly. But confusion is never permanent. It's just loud. And often, the louder it gets, the closer you are to something finally, gloriously breaking open. Think about learning to ride a bike for the first time. Remember that wobbly, chaotic moment right before you finally got it? Everything was chaos. You were overcorrecting, wobbling from side to side, terrified you were going to fall. Your brain was processing 1,000 different variables at once: balance, momentum, steering, pedaling. It felt absolutely impossible. And then, suddenly, it wasn't. Not because you consciously figured out some complex physics formula, but because your body, your deeper intelligence, finally learned to trust the process of forward motion. Your life works in exactly the same way. Most of the time, we are trying to intellectually manage too many variables. We are overanalyzing, overcorrecting, trying to control outcomes that are completely beyond our influence. We are so intensely focused on not falling that we forget the whole point is just to keep moving forward. And just like with the bicycle, the breakthrough in life comes not when we finally have everything figured out in our heads, but when we learn to surrender to and trust the forward motion, even when we can't see exactly where it's taking us. This is where it gets truly interesting. The people who navigate these transitional periods with the most grace and ease are not the ones who have all the answers. They are the ones who have learned to become comfortable with not having the answers. They have made peace with the sacred space between the questions and the answers. They have stopped treating uncertainty like an emergency that needs immediate solving, because uncertainty is not the enemy. Your resistance to uncertainty is the enemy. Fighting against the not knowing is what creates suffering. When you stop fighting it, when you stop demanding that life makes sense on your rigid timeline, something truly remarkable happens. You start to notice things you missed when you were too busy trying to force clarity. Opportunities that were there all along, but were hidden behind the wall of your anxiety about the future, suddenly become visible. Connections that were waiting for you to simply stop searching so hard and just be present finally materialize. And that is when everything starts to click. Not because you finally got smart enough, or worked hard enough, or manifested the right energy, but simply because you got out of your own way long enough for life to show you what it was trying to reveal all along. You realize that all those moments of confusion weren't delays. They were divine redirections. They were sacred course corrections happening at a level far deeper than your conscious mind could ever comprehend. The truth is, you have been clicking into place this entire time. Every moment of doubt, every period of uncertainty, every single time you thought you were falling behind, you were actually being lovingly guided toward a reality more aligned with the person you are becoming. The confusion was never proof that you were lost. It was proof that you were being found. So if you are in that space right now, if nothing makes sense and you are tired of pretending that it does, know this. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not doing it wrong. You are in the sacred, fertile space between who you were and who you are becoming. And that space, as uncomfortable as it is exactly where transformation lives. The clicking is coming. Not because you'll finally figure out all the answers, but because you will realize you never needed them in the first place. You just needed to trust the sacred process of your own becoming. And when that trust settles deep into your bones, when you stop fighting the uncertainty and start dancing with it, everything shifts. Not all at once, but in ways that feel so natural, so right, that you will wonder why you ever thought it was supposed to be any harder than this. Because maybe, just maybe, the thing that makes sense isn't the final destination. Maybe what makes sense is the courage to keep walking, even in the dark. And that courage, that willingness to move forward into the unknown, that's not confusion. That is wisdom. That is strength. That is you. Right on time, exactly where you need to be,